Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
And welcome to the Comic Queens podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie. And today we are celebrating an early Thanksgiving with ourselves and with you all by discussing some of these adorable stories that we found that center around food. It's a pretty good one.
Everyone loves food.
Everyone loves food. It's a way to people's hearts. It's just a great way to bring people together. So we decided we'd kind of focus on that aspect of Thanksgiving, just bringing people together through food. And today we've picked several different stories to kind of talk through that I think all give off different understandings of how the food works.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
All right, I'm going to get us started with the first one that I read called Check Please. So this is a webtoon. There are 33 episodes. It's a romance, and there is also a physical copy of this. We actually saw it at our local bookstore, which is how we even knew it was a thing. But unfortunately, they only have the second volume, so I haven't bought it yet. But I did start reading this one, and it's about Eric Biddle. And he is a college student. He's a freshman. He's just going into college. And he has a vlog that he does about food and his life and being a part of a hockey team. Mm-hmm. So he is at school on a hockey scholarship, but he's a figure skater. So they didn't have a figure skating scholarship, so he joined the hockey team because he knows how to skate. Mm-hmm. So he's on the team. It's a little difficult for him, though, because he is scared of being hit, which you're a hockey fan.
Yeah.
It's a big part of the game.
That is, like, the majority of what my husband even watches it with me for.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun part, but Eric Biddle does not agree. He doesn't want to be involved.
He's not a true hockey player at heart. Yeah.
So for the first couple of games, he's going out there, and when anyone gets close to him, he just drops to the ice and is like, no, don't touch me. And so they're a little upset with him because he's, not really playing hockey.
Because he sucks.
Yeah. So they're trying to figure out how to help him, and he is just going on with his food blog on the side. So he's really good at baking pies. He's talking about his experiences and how he's having a really hard time with his team. Mm-hmm. So I will say that even though he does have a food blog, this one is probably closer. It's more based on the hockey aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So it isn't a romance yet, but there is another main character. His name is Jack. And he is the captain of the hockey team. He's, I think, a junior. Mm-hmm. And he is incredibly stressed out because his father puts a ton of pressure on him. His father was a professional hockey player. And so everyone's always comparing him to his father. And he's always trying to live up to those expectations. And it's just a little bit difficult for him. Yeah. So he makes it his personal mission to make Eric better because he thinks Eric is dragging the whole team down. So I have to fix this situation. I'm the captain. It should be me.
Yeah, he takes the responsibility.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. They've been working together, and Eric has gotten better. He is not as scared of being hit. He actually gets involved in the games, and he did make a game-winning goal in the most recent episode that I read. Aww. But I haven't read all of this series, and the reason why is because the print is very small. Mm-hmm. So on my phone, it's a little bit hard to read, which again leans into why I will probably purchase this one as a physical copy, maybe read it on my iPad, but this has been a problem for a couple of series that we've run into. Mm-hmm. Ripple Rooter that I talked about last year. Yeah. I did finish that one, but it was a little bit difficult to read too because of the size of the print and the speech bubbles. Mm-hmm. So just similar situation here. So maybe read this one on a larger screen or pick up a physical copy at your local bookstore.
Yeah, I will say the local bookstore is probably the best option. We are always in support of that. But it looked super cute.
It's really cute.
I will say the first thing that came to mind in seeing the opening image with the hockey player and he's holding a pie, I think.
Yeah.
Was, do you remember Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off?
Yes, I do.
From Disney Channel.
Yes, I
and
do.
How he was going between baseball and being a baker. Mm-hmm. And that was immediately what came to my mind. was like, oh, it's like his little comfort thing.
It really is. He loves baking, and he does bring it up throughout the series too. So like he's hanging out with the guys, and then all of a sudden he says, oh my gosh, I left the oven on. I have to go check on my pies.
I love it. It sounds like he's just able to be his authentic self, and I'm glad he's improving.
Yeah.
But it sounds adorable.
It's pretty cute. So.
Yeah. Hopefully they make the text bigger, or you just buy the books.
Or I'm just going to buy the books.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you'll end up doing.
Yeah.
But I also purchased a physical copy for the one that I'm going to talk about next. It is called Crumbs. This one is also on Webtoon as a completed series. The one thing I will say, this is about 383 pages in the print graphic novel that I'm reading of it. It's only 56 episodes on Webtoon. Super quick read. I read it all in a day. I guess maybe if you're not crazy like me, it might take longer than that, but this one is a romance series. It follows the main character, Ray, and she lives in a world of witches and wizards. Sorcery is just an everyday thing. Not everybody has powers, but she does. She is a seer. And so what that usually means is that you are able to foresee the future. However, she is very stuck in the present. So she can see things for exactly how it is. Like she learned when she was young that she had this power because she had broken her toy, and her mom goes, oh, we can fix it. And she could look at it and see that the toy was broken beyond repair without like having to go through all of the, trial and error of trying to get this toy fixed. And so she has a very troubled history, I guess, with her powers because she feels lesser than, since she can't foresee the future. She finds comfort in going to this local bakery near her. It's just kind of what helps her escape all of her daily struggles. And at this bakery, it's owned by a fellow witch and a fellow seer who actually used to have this really high-powered job at the council, which is like the government agency that helps to prevent natural disasters. They help to make like decisions to improve everybody's quality of life. And she quit that job to open a bakery.
Fun.
So the owner's name is Marigold. She bakes all of these pastries and makes all of these specialty coffees that help to invoke feeling. So you can get a melancholy pie, or you can get like a different excitement-based pastry, and it helps you to feel those emotions. And Ray only goes to get the romance pastries. She is all about it. And the nephew that works at this bakery, his name is Laurie. He takes note of it very early on. Usually people who order the romance pastries, they are kind of shy about it. They don't want to admit that they're buying the romance pastries because they think that people will look at them weird, that they have to come to the bakery to feel romance. So he takes note of Ray very early on because she is excited to order this every time. She doesn't say she's getting it for somebody else. Like, she's just very stuck in her ways and fully accepting of the fact that this is what she wants every time.
I love it. Embrace yourself.
Absolutely. So Lori ends up catching Ray at the bus stop, leaving the bakery, and they get into a conversation where Lori asks why this is what she always orders. And Ray explains that when you're a seer and you can see everything for what it is as it's happening, there's no real sense of wonder or hope or doubt or anything. And so she says it just gives her a different perspective when she eats those pastries, and it kind of helps to invoke the feelings that she wishes she could have on a regular basis by herself. And they both kind of continue talking and have a mutual attraction to one another. So they kind of build a relationship off of her being this regular customer at the bakery. The story kind of continues on with Laurie pursuing his dreams of becoming a music artist, and with Ray trying to join the council. She gets this internship to use her powers for good. And the growth of their relationship is very interesting because it's not very linear. I felt like this was a really good way to depict real life romance with regular everyday struggles. So you see like their schedules not working out, and it just kind of makes them feel a little bit more distant at one given time. You do see that Ray is having trouble with her internship, and she struggles with whether or not it's too heavy to share a lot of those fears with Lori early on in the relationship. And so you just see a lot of those like budding romance issues throughout the story that feel very authentic to me personally. But I will say Ray and Lori, they do end up, continuing on their track. And it's just a story about growth and feeling and how you can allow yourself to just, move forward with the unknowns that come along with that. It is a very cute and sweet story. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it sounds adorable. I've seen the cover. It looks adorable. And I love her power is seeing things exactly as they are. I feel like that's not a very common thing that you see when you look at characters that have powers to see the future or something like that.
Yeah, and she's not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
But she does throughout the series kind of find her own way to make peace with it and learn how to use it to the best of her abilities. And I will say, it's just so, so sweet. I love that there's the underlying tone of the food being a comfort.
Yeah.
Because I do love that. And I think that it was great for setting up the connection between her and Marigold and Marigold's nephew, Lori.
Yeah.
So all around, wonderful story. Highly recommend. Just an adorable and super quick read.
So fun. Okay, so the next one that I have is also a physical book. This is a graphic novel, so it's not actually a webcomic at all. The reason that I picked this one up is because it won an Alex Award. Not from me, although I give it my personal Alex Award.
There we go.
But I had to get it.
Yeah, I mean, the cover alone is precious.
It's gorgeous. I loved this story. So this one is about Ben Cook, and he's a recent college graduate.
Does he cook?
No, he doesn't.
Well, the name has lied to us all.
Yes, at least not at first. He's an English major, and he is looking for some type of job in copywriting, editing. He wants to write his own books eventually, but he just needs to get his foot in the door.
Yeah.
And he's really struggling to find any work. I think that this is something that we see in real life all the time, is when you go in for interviews, they want you to have experience, but you can't get experience because no one will give you a chance. So it's just kind of a horrible cycle that he's gotten into. He has 3 roommates, Liz, Tom, and Rachel. They are also either recent graduates or one of them is going to grad school after graduating. And they all kind of know what they're doing. So Liz has been his best friend since childhood. She's in marketing. So she got a good job in marketing. Tom is another one of their friends, and he is a software developer. So he interned while he was in college and then was able to keep that job after.
Yeah.
And then Rachel is a theater major, and she's the one who's going back to grad school. So she doesn't have a job. She seems to be well off. Like, her parents are well off and paying for her to go to school. So she kind of is just not worried about it. She is really funny, too, because her first lesson block, I guess, is on Shakespeare. So she only talks in Shakespeare quotes and things like that. So it's really funny to listen to her talk at the beginning. But Ben has been struggling with all of this. He's seeing everyone around him that is seemingly moving on to next steps in their life, and he just feels stuck, and he's worried that he's not going to be able to pay his part of the rent because he doesn't have a job. So he's got some struggles going on. He decides that he's just going to try and get any job because he's like, I can't get a job in copy editing. I will continue to look for jobs like this, but I need something in the meantime.
Yeah.
So he decides to go and try and be a garbage man.
Okay.
And he goes there, and the guy who's interviewing him has the same spiel, like, what is your experience? And he gets really upset because he's like, oh my gosh, I don't even have experience to collect garbage, which
He's like, my experience is throwing my own garbage into the trash can.
Yeah. So he's feeling really dejected after this. And he ends up he's trying to walk home, and he finds a sign in a restaurant that says help wanted, no experience needed. Mm-hmm. So he's like, finally, I need this. So he goes in, he tries to get this job, and he meets Liam, who is the sous chef at this restaurant. And he just starts interviewing right on the spot. So he's interviewing with Liam, and he passes the verbal interview. And so then Liam is like, all right, cook me something. Let's see what you can do. And Ben freaks out a little bit because he's thinking, I thought there was no experience needed in this job. But they just want to see what he can do. Yeah. So he ends up making this autumn squash soup that Liam really likes. So Liam wants to hire Ben right away. But then the head chef comes out. His name is Chef Daniels. And he's a little bit unhinged. Okay. And he says, what are you doing? You don't have the power to hire anyone. We need to have Watson make the final decision. Okay. Now, who's Watson?
Good question.
Ben is asking the same thing. So they end up taking the soup out to Watson. Watson is a pig.
I'm sorry.
He's a pig. He lives in the back of the restaurant. And so
how do the customers feel about it?
I don't think they know.
Yeah, they probably don't.
So Watson loves his food. Okay. He eats the soup, and Liam is like, see, look, he ate the soup. It's great. Let's hire him. So Chef Daniels reluctantly says, I will hire you for 3 weeks. You'll be on a trial period. You have to complete this challenge. And then after that, maybe I'll hire you full time. So the challenge is that he has to cook 1 meal a week. Learning from one of the other chefs that is in the restaurant, and present the meal at the end of the week to Watson to see if Watson approves. It's, okay. I mean, it's so funny.
I don't foresee Watson not approving.
Watson has a very sophisticated palate.
Okay. I didn't see that one coming, to be fair.
This isn't in my description, really, but there is a part in the middle where Ben goes into Chef Daniel's office and he grants him 3 questions, much as a genie would grant 3 wishes. And he wastes 2 of them asking kind of stupid questions. They're actually not stupid, but the chef thinks that they're stupid. Okay. So he ends up asking about Watson, and you hear Watson's backstory. So it is in the book if you're interested, but I digress. So then on the last week, he has to make a meal from the restaurant and also present his own meal that he has created for himself. Okay. To Watson. So he is like, yes, I'll do it. I need this job. I need money. So I'm going to do it.
It's at least a guaranteed 3 weeks of income.
Yeah. So he gets started doing this, but if he fails in the first week, if Watson doesn't like it, then he's done. He doesn't get another chance.
Oh my gosh.
So he starts working with Mel, who is teaching him how to make ricotta stuffed squash blossoms. Yum. And he's walking through the process. Immediately, Ben is like, what if we used a tempura batter instead of breadcrumbs? And so he does things his own way, which Chef Daniels does not like. He's like, why are you trying to improve on my recipes? But he goes out to Watson. He presents them to Watson. And Watson eats them and immediately keels over. So Chef Daniels is freaking out. He's like, you've killed my pig. And it turns out that Watson loved the squash blossoms so much, he faked death to cause a distraction to go in and eat the rest of the squash blossoms from the kitchen.
Beautiful.
So he does this throughout the whole thing. So the second one is he's working with a woman named Emmy, and she's teaching him how to make pear tarts. Watson loves those. He throws roses at him. Like, there's just funny things. In the final one, he gives him a golden pig. Aww. Then he works with Liam. He makes manicotti. And that is his final task, and he has to make his own meal along with that. And he's deciding that he wants to be a chef. He's like kind of realizing that he only went into writing. Well, not writing. He only went into his English major because his parents kind of pushed him that way.
Yeah.
And so he's thinking, like, is this really what I want? Like, maybe I do want to cook and work in this restaurant. He's also been lying to his parents because he told his parents that he had a copywriting job, and they're too involved in his life, I would say, because he's an adult and he should be able to make his own decisions, but they don't agree. So they end up finding him at the restaurant during this last trial, and they confront him and say, you need to stop working at this restaurant. I have a copywriting job for you. You need to go interview with this guy and use my connections to get where you should be. And he is having this internal struggle of, do I do that or do I work at the restaurant? So it goes back and forth. I won't tell you what he chooses. You can read to find out. But it is so cute. I love Ben. He is just the best chef. They have recipes in the back for all of the things that he made, and they look delicious. We should make them sometime.
We absolutely should.
And it's just such a cute story about learning that you don't always have to do what your life plan is. You can change things if you find new interest. And yeah, it's pretty good.
I love it. That sounds so fun.
Also, Watson was just the best character.
I do love pigs.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Oh, I didn't even mention that Chef Daniels calls Ben anything but Ben. Like,
Beautiful.
He refuses to learn Ben's name.
Is Chef Daniels the love interest?
No, he's
It's
not.
Liam.
It's Liam.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was so curious. I was like, I don't know.
No, it's Liam. And Liam is great. Liam supports him the whole time and is like, you're doing great, sweetie.
You're doing great, sweetie. From afar.
Yeah, and is like trying to help him out.
He's also got beautiful tattoos.
Oh my gosh, he does. And beautiful hair. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. And so he's also struggling too because his best friend Liz is like, do you really want to work at this restaurant, or are you just interested in Liam? Is that why? So he's kind of having that internal dilemma as well. And
It's not a bad one to have.
yeah, a lot of self-reflection happens in this.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I have the deluxe edition, so I have a lot of different fan arts and different covers. You learn about the authors and the characters, and like I said, there's the recipes in the back. This is a great book. I recommend everyone get this book, and it has won my personal Alex Award, which I'll probably start handing out. Yeah.
We'll have to make a little Alex trophy, like how Watson has a little Watson trophy.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think it's great. So actually, that does lead in really well to the story that I read next. It is also a graphic novel, so print only. But we found it at our local bookstore, and I could not get it because it is just an adorable cover. Ironically enough, it's called The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. I do not personally eat cheese.
It works out well for us, though, because you give all your cheese to me.
Yeah, it really is. It's like the olive theory from the How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
So it works out pretty well. But I don't personally eat cheese, so I was surprised as anybody that this was the one that I chose to get. But I couldn't help it. It was just too cute.
It looks so cute, the cover.
Yeah. So this one is by Dea Muniz. She is actually a graphic novelist as well. So she has a series on Webtoon called Blades of Furry. And it's about like animals in a real life landscape going through like all these different trials as figure skaters. So if that's something that piques your interest, that's great. This graphic novel is 239 pages and it is a girl love. So kind of nice to do the other side of the spectrum. I know I read a lot of boy loves. So it was a nice, fresh perspective. This story has the main character, Cam, and it opens up with her and her father arguing because she has declined another marriage proposition. Her dad is pushing very hard for her to find a husband, and Cam is gay. So Cam does not want a husband.
Yeah, that's fair.
The dad is not happy with having to push for this marriage, but there are laws in place that make it so that he cannot pass down an inheritance unless it is to a son or to the husband of his daughter. So he's trying to make it so that she's not left destitute, and he is actively dying. So he's trying to make sure that she's set up in life, and he's just trying to push as hard as possible to make sure that she's taken care of. The only thing they end up coming to a consensus about is the dad goes, if you were a son, it would be different. And so they come up with this plan together that when he passes away, Cam is going to assume a new identity as Count Camembert and become his son to inherit everything that the father is passing down.
Long lost son.
Long lost son. So after the father's passed away, Cam burns all of her clothes, creates this new identity as Count Camembert, and uses like fake sideburns, dresses in the father's clothes, the whole shebang. Like, she really leans into this new role. And she even goes as far as to relocate from their village of Gruyere to the kingdom of Fromage.
Okay, I love that everything is cheese named.
Oh, it is everything. You will see this as we continue on through the story. So good. So Cam has to lay low because there are people who know that the former Count Camembert did not have a son. And so Cam is supposed to live a quiet life in this townhouse that her father owned in Fromage. And she is bored out of her mind. She goes, I have no friends. The only person, like, they fired all of the staff because the only staff they trusted was her maid named Feta. And she goes, like, Feta is my trusted confidant.
Yeah.
However, I'm bored out of my freaking mind. Feta, help me. And Feta pushes really hard in like a motherly role of saying, you have no choice. Like, this is the life that you chose. You needed the inheritance to survive, and you have to stay in. However, Cam realizes that she has been getting a lot of invitations as a new count in this kingdom and stumbles upon an invitation from the king of this land and his daughter, Princess Bree, who are throwing a animal lover activist ball to make sure that they can celebrate like no animal cruelty. And there are very few instructions about this ball other than no fur and no like animal products of your clothes. And Cam goes, I'm going.
Do they eat cheese?
They do eat cheese.
Okay.
They do eat cheese. But anyways, Cam immediately says, oh, I'm going to lay low. Like, I'm just going to go to this party like a wallflower.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to see everybody at this ball, see how everything goes. And immediately scratches that as she makes a grand entrance in what looks like a giant, like, mink fur to this no animal cruelty ball. So Cam is approached by none other than Princess Bree, who is outraged at the outfit that Count Camembert has decided to wear to her beautiful party. And Cam makes it known that in her hometown of Gruyere, there was a beautiful fashion artist that makes faux fur, and it is fake. So she said, actually, this is perfect. I just wanted to show off to everybody here that you can wear fashion items that look, you know, very rich and stylish, that don't have to be real animals and cause all this hurt. And Bree is immediately blushing and just taken aback. And she goes, I like him. She goes, I think he is just wonderful. And she makes very fast friends, like makes it very known. She's like, I trust his opinion. I want him to meet my friends. We're going to become besties. And it happens really fast. Cam comes back from this ball. It's in all of the newspapers that Count Camembert is this new eligible bachelor that made an appearance, and everybody took note of it. And Feta is pissed. Feta's like, Cam, you did not do what you said you were going to. And Cam is in her own la la land, desperately in love at first sight with Princess Bree. Cannot stop thinking about anything else. And immediately Cam gets an invitation to join Princess Bree for tea, like the following day. And goes, well, I have to go. You can't possibly decline. And Feta is just so fed up. She goes, absolutely not. You cannot go to this private affair. Like, you will get found out. Everyone will know you're a woman. And Cam's like, no, I'm so good at this. It's fine. I've got the fake sideburns. We're good.
No one will see past the fake sideburns.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like Perry the Platypus with the hat, you know? No
Yeah,
one
it
knows. So Cam does go to this tea time. Princess Bree has invited 2 of her best friends. One person is named Lady Ricotta, and she is just best friends since childhood, kind of an airhead, but super lovable. And then she introduces Lady Gorgonzola.
Oh, no.
Lady Gorgonzola.
Is she salty?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little salty. Which is funny because I never would have picked up on that because I have never eaten Gorgonzola.
Gotta say, not my favorite cheese.
Okay. Little salty?
A little salty. It's very strong. I'd say it's pretty similar to like a blue cheese. It's funky.
Okay. A little funky.
Yeah.
Well, Lady Gorgonzola is none other than the fashion artist that created the fake mink that Cam was wearing at the party. And she goes, I just thought you would love to be introduced to Lady Gorgonzola, who took over the business after her husband passed away. And she actually hails from your hometown of Gruyere.
So she knows.
They do have a little bit of conversation before it gets sidetracked where Lady Gorgonzola goes, that's interesting. I didn't think that Count Camembert had a son. I knew him quite well. He did a lot of business with my husband. And they just kind of divert the conversation. Cam immediately gets distracted because Princess Bree has an adorable puffball puppy named Gouda. And she is also extremely distracted because what are they serving other than the best grilled cheese sandwiches she's ever eaten?
I love grilled cheese.
So Cam and Bree make eyes at each other. They're planning the next event that they're trying to do. And Cam comes up with a wonderful idea to have sort of a model experience. So they want to make all of these dresses and hire people to live model these instead of like standing mannequins or anything. It's real life people. You can see them in action. And Cam volunteers Feta to be one of the models. Feta is immediately realizing how deep in everything Cam is getting herself.
Yeah.
And has those worries pretty early on. However, Cam fits right in with Princess Bree and all of Princess Bree's friends. The event that they throw on goes swimmingly, and in the interim they're going on little one-on-one excursions. Lady Bree kind of makes it obvious to, or Princess Bree makes it obvious to Lady Ricotta that like, oh, you should like say you're sick and that you can't join on this outing because then it's just us two. And it's made very known that there's a lot of love for each other on both sides. So you have Lady Ricotta and Lady Gorgonzola kind of pushing them towards each other as well. However, things do take a turn for the worst when Cam's sideburns, the glue doesn't stick and it starts rolling up. And it becomes very obvious that she is not a man.
Oh, no.
Princess Bree feels extremely conflicted because the love that she has there is real, but she doesn't understand why she wasn't told or anything else like that. You do have Lady Gorgonzola kind of coming to Cam's defense and saying, I married my husband as a political decision because I had the fashion business and wasn't allowed to run it without a man being the front runner. Like, I only got my business back from under him because he passed away and I refused to have children. Yeah. So that it could be left to me in the will. And she goes, so I understand the difficult position that Cam would be in of needing to pretend to be somebody else. But in the interim, Princess Bree, the entire kingdom is assuming is being courted by Count Camembert. Yeah. And now Princess Bree is starting to accept courting from other people, like this duke from a faraway land. That would be a political marriage, things like that. I don't want to give away too many spoilers on it, but this is a story where two beautiful people are brought together by their love of grilled cheese. And really, I just think it is the cutest story ever. It's also one of those ones you can read in one day.
Yeah.
And I binged the entire thing.
I love that. I love that everyone has cheese names.
She really leaned into it.
Yeah. My husband and I were just recently talking about how we want to make tomato soup and grilled cheese at home, and I think this might be the push that we need to make those.
Yeah, I will say that was a staple in my household growing up.
Oh, me too. I love
the tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Yeah.
But I will say it is so, so cute. The artist also has an afterwards where she explains that the character design is after herself and her wife.
Aww.
And that her wife does make her all the grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
It really is just the most precious. I have not read any of her webtoons, and the webtoon that I did see was not about food, but this one just really felt like it fit the bill on being that heartwarming story that really comes together with food at the center of it.
I love it.
So,
okay. The last one that I have today is not a romance one. First one for us. I know that the last one you have is also not a romance one. So we did talk about this, that a lot of the food-based stories we find are also romance stories. So we did want to challenge ourselves and try and find some that were not romance-based.
I will say it's because the way to a person's heart is through their stomach.
Absolutely.
So I get the romance food connection, but yes, it was a bit of a challenge.
It was. So I found one on Webtoon called Plague Muffins. This is a completed series. It's a historical series.
Okay.
And it's 47 episodes. So this one is about plague doctors. Mm-hmm. So we open up, we see Silas. He is a plague doctor who has discovered the cure for the plague that he made in his muffins. So in his little town, he's a baker, and he just kind of stumbled upon this cure for the plague that was through his muffin recipe. And he's gone to London to be a part of the Plague Doctor Society. Mm-hmm. So he is a plague doctor. He has the mask and everything. People come to his bakery to get his muffins to heal the plague that they have, or he makes house calls and he goes to people who can't come to him, and he is very generous, and he kind of works on a, if you can pay me, that's great. If you can't, I'm going to give you the muffins anyways system. So he's really great. And he gets an apprentice. And the apprentice goes to him, and we see the apprentice going to the head plague doctor society in London. Mm-hmm. And she goes up to Malcolm, who is the head plague doctor, and she says, I want to be a plague doctor. I want to be in this society. And he gives her a mission. He says, okay, you can be a part of the Plague Doctor Society. All you have to do is go to this plague doctor in one of these country cities named Silas and find dirt on him so that we can get his license revoked, basically. Mm-hmm. So she goes there. He asks what her name is, and she says, my name is Apprentice. She doesn't want to give her real name. So he's like, okay, that's a little odd. Your name is Apprentice and you're an apprentice. Suspicious. So she does say, well, I didn't like my previous name, so I'm just going to use Apprentice as my new name. He's like, all right, whatever. You're weird, but okay. So he starts teaching her, and he is already talking about how he doesn't agree with how things are being done at the Plague Doctor Society. He doesn't agree with how Malcolm is running things, because Malcolm seems to be running good plague doctors out of town and replacing them with his own men. And he thinks that the men that he's replacing him with are not actually helping. They are providing remedies and cures that don't actually work. And so he's upset about this. He's kind of just doing his own thing. And he teaches Apprentice how to make these muffins, and he works in the town with her, delivers the muffins and all of that. And she ends up getting pretty close to him, even though she's supposed to be spying on him and finding reasons for him to not be a part of the Plague Doctor Society anymore. so that he can be replaced by one of Malcolm's men. So he ends up going to another town. He gets a letter from another plague doctor saying, can you come help in my town? So he goes there, and the plague doctor who wrote him the letter is already gone and has been replaced by one of Malcolm's men. So he starts working in this town, trying to help as many people as he can while he's there, because he's planned on being there for the week. So he's going to stay and help as many people as he can. He runs into the replacement and is immediately confrontational with him because the guy is telling him, you need to get out of here. Why are you giving these muffins? Don't do that. So he kind of stays away from that guy. But then when he goes back to his own hometown and his bakery has burned down. You find out that Apprentice burned down the bakery because she's helping Malcolm. But she's really conflicted because she really likes Silas, and she's thinking like, okay, he seems like a good doctor. I don't know why Malcolm is trying to get him kicked out, but he must have a reason because he's the head plague doctor. So she's really conflicted on like what to do, but she's following her instructions, which are to get him ousted. So then Silas decides to go to London because he's been summoned by Malcolm to go there. While he's on his way with Apprentice, he gets abducted by a group of bandits. And the group of bandits are planning on taking him to Malcolm because he has been to Malcolm before, and Malcolm has asked him to renounce his plague doctor license, and he said, no, I'm not doing that. I am a good plague doctor, and you have no reason to do this, and I'm going to go back and help my town. So he's kind of on Malcolm's shit list. And so Malcolm decides to have him abducted by this group of bandits. So while he's there, they abduct both him and Apprentice, and he meets a lady named Scarlet. She ends up helping Silas and Apprentice escape and get away. So they are just hiding out in the woods, and you don't really know why Scarlet is helping him, but really helps them out. We see that Silas and Apprentice are kind of working on what to do because Apprentice has kind of seen his way and seen that he is giving out fake remedies that will heal people for a short time, but then ultimately kill them in the end. And so he decides that he needs to get proof that this is happening so he can get him kicked out of his role as the head plague doctor. So then he steals a servant's outfit to go into the Plague Doctor Society and find this proof that he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. And he gets caught while he's there. Then he tries to run away. He ends up having a duel with Malcolm and ends up getting taken back again after this duel because he lost. And so then he goes back, and Malcolm is talking to Apprentice. We now know her name is Emily. And
it's not Apprentice?
It's not Apprentice. Shocking. So he is going to Emily and saying, like, you looked like you're really close with him. You didn't do exactly what I told you. Are you not on my side anymore? And Emily is like, yeah, I'm on your side. I was just a really, really good actress. And so he decides that he needs to have Emily kill Silas because he has told Silas his plan, which you find out that what he's doing is creating these fake cures to prolong the plague so that he can make money. So once he tells Silas this, he's like, now you know my plan. You have to die.
Why do villains always do this?
Exactly.
Like, just fucking keep it close to the heart.
No, he doesn't. He's like, let me tell you my evil plan. And then he does the other thing that villains do. And he says, okay, henchman, you take care of this. I'm going to leave. It's all good. So Silas does end up getting out, and he escapes from the henchmen, and he's running away. Scarlet ends up helping him again, And then they end up going to a tavern. Apprentice has been caught, though, because Apprentice refused to kill Silas. And so she's been taken away and locked in the dungeon. So Silas really wants to find her and get her out of that situation. He's like, I know that she tried to burn down my bakery, but she's really conflicted. She's just a child. She's like 14.
Yeah.
He says, I've grown really close to her in the time that we've been working, and I just feel like she's like my daughter, and I can't just leave her. And Scarlett is like, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, so they disagree. Scarlett ends up leaving the tavern, and then you see some more plague doctors come in, and he's kind of nervous at first because he thinks that these plague doctors that have just come in are Malcolm's men, and they take him outside. Come to find out, they're part of the real plague doctor society who actually want to help people, but have been kicked out of the society by Malcolm. And so they think that he's working for Malcolm. So once it comes to light that both of them are not working for Malcolm, they end up talking to each other. And you find out that the person who he's talking to is his older brother, who is the doctor who wrote him in the beginning and said, hey, please come to my town. So he is talking to his brother Lewin and his brother's friend, who are also plague doctors who have been ousted from the society. And they end up parting ways because Lewin is like, the best way that we can survive is to stay hidden, and so we should separate. So Silas goes on his way. He ends up running to one of the main plague doctors under Malcolm. Her name is Claudia, and she is kind of an assassin plague doctor, and she is trying to kill Silas, but Lewin and his friend do end up coming back and saving Silas from being attacked by her. So then you see that the three of them are deciding that they need to put an end to this so that Malcolm can't continue to harm people and profit off of their suffering. Also, he still wants to get Apprentice back. They come up with this plan. They're like, we have to kill Malcolm. Wouldn't it just be so ironic if he died from the plague? So they use the outfit that he stole before, the servant's outfit, and sneak back into the palace and put a rag from a plague victim in his soup and let it cook. So Malcolm ends up getting the plague. And they use this as an opportunity to storm the society. So they have this whole big battle. Scarlett ends up joining them on their side and helping out to kind of get rid of the plague doctors that are under Malcolm so that they can expose him and figure out where Apprentice is. Also, Scarlett at one point is having like a little heart-to-heart moment with Silas, and they're talking about how Silas never takes his plague mask off, and that's true. You see a glimpse of his face towards the end of the series, but you never see his face or Apprentice's face or Malcolm's face. Like, they're always wearing their plague masks.
Well, they don't want to get the plague.
Yeah.
What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah. So she is talking to him and he says, well, do you want me to take my plague mask off so that you can see my face? And Scarlett is like, no, I'm just going to keep the illusion that you're handsome. So I don't want you to take the mask off. I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, I get it.
So they're storming the society and Scarlett ends up getting hit by a dagger and they are battling it out. They end up winning and killing all of Malcolm's men. So they go in. Scarlett kind of runs away after she gets hit. Silas is trying to like help her, like suture her up. And she's like, no, leave me alone. You have to go help. You need to find Apprentice and you need to help the other guys with the other plague doctors. Like, you have to keep attacking. Don't focus on me.
Yeah.
So she leaves to just like get out of the focus.
Yeah.
And so they go in and they confront Malcolm and they're like, we are going to find proof that you are doing all of this stuff that you shouldn't be. And Silas is like, where is Apprentice? So he tells her where she is in the dungeons, and then he goes down to help her in the dungeons. She kind of doesn't want to leave with him. She's really mad at him. She's like, if I hadn't listened to you, then none of this would have happened. I could have just done what Malcolm said and everything would be fine.
No, wouldn't.
And, well, yeah, but she's 14.
It's like when you watch The Little Mermaid again and she's like, I'm a grown up, I'm 15. And you're like, no.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, so he does end up convincing her to come with him because she refuses at first. She doesn't want to leave with him. And so she does end up coming. He's like, you're like my daughter. And they have a little heart-to-heart moment. It's super cute. And so then they've won the battle. They've killed Malcolm. But Malcolm has also stabbed Silas in the process. So he's got a stab wound in his side. They do find a journal that he had where it's like a Dear Diary moment. Because he's like, Dear Diary. It doesn't actually say that, but that's basically what it's like. I'm using poisons that will make people seem like they're better, but then they'll actually get worse, and then I'll get more money. Like, you know, he's telling his evil plans in his diary.
Yeah.
He also uses it. He's like, there's this one plague, Dr. Silas, and I really hate him. So it's like, it's great. So they use that to prove that Malcolm was not doing what he was supposed to be doing. And so they do they have to put a new head in place anyways, but they use this proof to get everyone who was under Malcolm kicked out, and they start reinstating all of these good plague doctors back into the society. And then Silas, his bakery's burned down in his small town, and he ends up getting a bakery from a man who died from the plague in London that is much bigger. So he has a lot more that he can do there, and he can make these plague muffins to heal people in London and like help more people. So he stays there, and he has apprentice stay with him. And they're kind of like a little family. Scarlett ends up coming back too and saying, can I stay with you guys? She like just asks, can I stay with you guys? Aww. And he's like, of course you can. So she is back, and Apprentice is there, and they're just like a cute little family. And Apprentice is like the adorable teenage daughter who is like, ew, don't be cute in front of me. You guys go away. Or like, I'm going to go away, and you guys can wait until I'm gone before you're acting sweet together.
Very teenager.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I like told you the whole story, but it's a historical one. There's not like a ton of twists and turns. I actually don't even think I mentioned this, but Scarlett was Malcolm's sister. So, yeah. So that's why she was helping out in the beginning with the bandits, but then she kind of turned on her brother. So there's not really any twists and turns in this. It's mostly just like a historical piece about the plague and what if there were muffins that could help in the plague. So super, super cute, quick read at only 47 episodes. They weren't too long, so I recommend it.
Yeah, I honestly think it sounds amazing. I love like the plague doctor masks. You did show me one panel of it.
Yeah.
And the art is just beautiful. Yeah. It's very dark. It's a very interesting way to tie in all of the food. So I do love that.
Super cute.
But I'm glad you found it. I don't think it's one that we would have like just found on our own.
Really? Like I searched cooking tags and that's what came up. So,
well,
there weren't many cooking tags on there.
Yeah. I will say like this sounds like a unique one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to give it a read. I love that. So last but very much not least, this is the story that I found that was not a romance. So I'm patting myself on the back for that one. This is called Soul Food. It is listed as a heartwarming as the genre, but I'd also say it's almost more of like a slice of life, except if you were undead. So I'll give that caveat. The thought process behind Soul Food is that it is a restaurant owned by two ghosts or spirits, and they run this restaurant to cook up the foods that can stir up the memories you're missing the most as somebody who's recently passed away. So it's memories that you can bring up to help pass on to the other side, to figure out how you passed away in your previous life, anything like that. The story is set up with 98 episodes, and it's actually 3 different stories so far. So those 98 episodes are kind of split into 3, and they all tell like a specific story about one of the meals that they made for each person. And so it gives you all the backstory of like what the memories was that it dredged up and like how they found their peace with it. So this restaurant is run by 2 spirits named Ruth and Azazel, or Zaz, as she likes to go by. And they opened up this restaurant because they want to help all of these spirits pass on and just find the closure that they need. A lot of times they mention that people pass away and they may not know the circumstances and they don't feel comfortable, you know, continuing on without being able to connect the dots on everything. So early on in the first story, we have a man that stumbles in and doesn't even know how he got there. He says like he just felt a draw there. He's hungry, like he has the memories of like what meal it is that he wants. And it ends up being like an omurice. So if you've ever seen the Japanese meal, it's like an omelet over all of this rice, usually with like little ketchup drizzled on it. And so Ruth and Azazel, they walk through the process of creating this dish for him. He takes a bite and he goes, ah, yes, this is how I remember it. And automatically they expect it to be dredging up this like really good memory for him. And he goes, oh no, I remember now. This was the meal that my wife made me all the time and I hated it. He's like, she made this for me constantly. It was not good.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I just ate it because she's my wife and I had to.
That kind of reminds me, have you seen those videos where it's like the wife puts a spoon of salt and then dips it in the soup and has the husband taste test it?
Yes.
To see if they'll lie if it's good or not.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I love those. My favorite one was this guy who ate it and you could see in his eyes, they just went so wide and he just goes, honey, do you think there's a little too much salt?
That's the nice way to put it.
Yeah.
But he kind of laughs and he's like, my wife always tried really hard. Like, we didn't have much money. Like, we were very, you know, quick with our meals. We didn't want to put in too much effort, anything like that. Because the less time we spent in the kitchen, the more time we got to spend together. And so he starts getting very nostalgic and thinking through his past life. And in eating this omurice, it also helps him to recognize how he passed away. He realizes that his wife passed away before he did. And he would kind of make this meal, like go to the grocery store and make this meal to remember her. Like, he hated it, but it was what tied him to those memories of his wife even after her passing.
Yeah.
And so you see that on his way to the grocery store to go and buy those ingredients, he ended up getting hit by a truck.
Oh my gosh.
So Ruth and Azazel, you know, they talk through it with him and they're like, you know, we wish it stirred up those better memories, but we hope that this gives you the closure you need. And you see that the man's wife walks in as a customer as well. And they're like, it looks like you guys have a lot to catch up on. You should kind of walk through those memories together so that you can pass on. This is several different short stories. It's set up with pretty quick episodes to read. So all 3 stories would probably take you like an hour and a half to read all of. I won't talk through all of them because I don't want to spoil it, but it is a very heartwarming story. It's so sweet to see like the connection of food to all of your memories and experiences, because it really is true. You can have those meals that just like bring you back. I know for a fact that I try to recreate food that my parents have made for me in my childhood.
Yep.
And when you sit there and you feed it to your children, like there's just something so special about sharing that and remembering this was my favorite food and now I'm seeing my daughter eat that.
Yeah.
It just really warms your heart, and it really is just such a sweet series that focuses on that connection to all of those memories that you have.
What is the food that you made or make for your daughter that
oh my gosh
is from your childhood?
So my mom made this like paprika chicken. She does it's chicken legs and it has like seasoned salt and paprika on it. And then you rub it with oil so that the skins get really crispy. And then you do that either with like rice and steamed vegetables, whatever else. But I swear to you, I made it literally this week. No joke. And my daughter ate like 3 chicken legs.
Oh my gosh.
And she's 3.
Yeah.
So
one for each year.
Yeah, one for each year. She gobbled it down. But it was a favorite for a reason.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So all in all, I do love that. I love having those ties to food and just the soul and how it just really feeds you there as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I read one that wasn't a romance because it was just nice to see the different perspective for once.
Yeah.
It was a really good story to read. I'm glad that we kind of got out of our comfort zone for that one. So in celebration of Thanksgiving, having all of the food, friends, family around you, Alex did also find this quiz that can help you find your Thanksgiving table. Mm-hmm. This is on TappyToon. It is something that's going to end on the 29th at 12 a.m. So if you're wanting to do this, make sure you do it beforehand so you know what stories to take a look at. The thought process behind it is it's a quiz that you can take to tell you what Thanksgiving table you'll be sitting at. You can either get the green flags table, the tyrants table, or the protectors table. So we're going to take the quiz now and see where we go.
All right, let's go.
So question 1, I act annoyed, but I love being babied.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
So you go to question 2 then.
Okay. Every relationship needs a bit of holiday drama. No. All right, you go.
Okay. So mine is I am thankful for a man who prepares my plate. No.
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 Okay, next for me, traveling home, I'm a total passenger princess. Yes.
Yes, you are. Let's see. Question 5. If he's throwing the turkey?
If he's throwing
Why would
the
he be
turkey-
throwing the turkey?
Like, food fight. If
Oh,
he's
okay.
throwing the turkey.
Oh, if he's throwing the turkey, I'm behind him with the mashed potatoes. Yes. 100%. Mashed potatoes would be so much more satisfactory in a food fight.
All right. A man with dad jokes is endearing? No.
Okay, my question 8. Even if you are with family, I want all of his attention. Yes.
Okay, not surprised what you got. So my next question is, if he's throwing the turkey, I'm behind him with the mashed potatoes. I'm saying no. I don't want a food fight. And then I have one more. My dream man takes my side in family feuds. Yes. So we have our answers.
We have our answers. The results are in. Alex, what table are you sitting at?
I'm sitting at the green flags table. Annie, what table are you sitting at?
Surprising nobody, I am sitting at the tyrants table.
Yeah, I think that we both got what we expected we would get.
Yeah, I think we did. Ultimately, it was really fun. I think that was great. And honestly, the only one I wouldn't have wanted was the protectors table.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a table of yanderes.
It really does. All right, so let's take a brief pause to look at these stories and decide what we want to read.
All right. These look interesting. These ones all have really funny titles. So Alex, tell me who's sitting at the green flag table.
Okay, so we have How to Diet as a Lady, All for My Dearest Juliet, Taming the Marquis, Love Gem, and My Dearest Witch.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
They all look great. The people in the pictures are characters in all the stories, I assume.
Yes, and I think I'm gonna have to go with the one who I was most interested in from the cover picture, which is from All for My Dearest Juliet. And I haven't even read any of the descriptions. He's a beautiful silver-haired male lead, and I just feel like I want to read his story.
Yeah, you love the energy.
Yeah.
You've got to. So, at the Tyrants table, I don't know why this is the case, but almost all of these have those like long form titles that kind of sound deranged. So stick with me.
Okay.
The first one is My Evil Husband is Obsessed with the Wrong Person. The second one is I Got Pregnant with the Tyrant's Child. The third one is Living with the Dangerous Beast. The fourth one is The Villainess Tames the Crazed Devil. And last but not least, I Am the Obsessive Emperor's Talented Pharmacist.
All of those sound like things you would read.
They really do. I will say, if I'm going based off of the same thing that you did,
Yeah.
where you go, my favorite at the table is from this story,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have to read Living with the Dangerous Beast. He did not have animal ears in the Tyrant's Table picture, but he does, here.
So are you changing your answer, or are you going to stick with that one?
I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to read Living with the Beast just because I have to know.
Oh, he does have animal ears.
But yeah, he's got like red fox ears.
Yeah, and she's got red eyes.
Yes, she does. So this is an all ages version, but I have a feeling that means there's a not all ages version.
Probably. I bet mine is just all ages.
Probably with the green flag.
Yeah. What are some of your tags for yours?
Oh gosh, for the one that I chose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look here.
Oh no.
Okay, this one is romance, steamy, obsessive male lead, protective instinct, anthropomorph, forbidden love, hidden identity, first love, period piece, outcast, couple growth.
Mine's romance fantasy, hidden identity, tragic past, angst, family, back to the past, misunderstanding, royalty, first love, time travel, and HD. Tragic past and angst sound right up my alley.
They sound right up your alley. And for anybody who was curious, I have already looked into it. The all ages version is the only one that's available on the app, but you can find the mature version on the web.
There you go. We will be back to tell you how these stories are in the future.
Yes, 100%. I am honestly really excited.
Me too.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this special pre-Thanksgiving episode. We hope that your Thanksgiving is spent with lots of food, family, and friends, and just happiness all around. But sending you all happiness from ourselves. Looking forward to talking to you all on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.